Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shatir from the Chicago camp, coming back to what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And this is coming from WKMG News 6 in Orlando, Florida. And as you can see from the title, it says children 12 and 14 use AK 47, other guns, in shooting rampage on Volusia deputies. So we're going to let this play and then get some scripture.
Developing this morning, a dangerous situation involving kids in a Volusia County neighborhood. Deputies say they had no choice but to return fire after a 12 and 14-year-old started shooting at them. And one of those kids was armed with an AK-47. This happened last night at a home along Enterprise Osteen Road, east of I-4. Mark Lehman is there live for us this morning. And Mark, deputies say they tried for hours to de-escalate this.
Yeah, the sheriff says deputies made several efforts to try and calm things down at this home here last night. But on every occasion, the sheriff says deputies were met by gunfire from the children who broke into this home. The sheriff expressing disbelief over what happened and outrage over what he calls a failed juvenile justice system.
This is something I've never seen in 35 years of policing.
The Volusia County Sheriff's Office surrounding a home in Enterprise on Tuesday where they say two children, just 12 and 14 years old, opened fire on deputies.
And here's an indication of a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old have it so bad in life that they're going to defy law enforcement and engage them in a gun battle.
Sheriff Mike Chitwood says the children ran away from a group home, a place they responded to nearly 300 times last year.
What the hell is the Department of Juvenile Justice doing, sending these kids to places that can't handle them?
According to investigators, the 12-year-old boy and 14-year-old girl broke into a nearby home where they found a shotgun and AK-47. Chitwood says the deputies were met with gunfire as they tried to de-escalate the situation.
But they took rounds, multiple rounds, before they were left with no other choice but to return fire.
The girl was shot by deputies and rushed to the hospital. The boy was then taken into custody after surrendering.
Thankfully, I have deputies who are going home to their families because they knew what to do. They were well trained.
No deputies were injured in the gunfire, and we're told the 14-year-old girl is stable after undergoing surgery for life-threatening injuries. Both children are now facing felony charges. As for the group home they ran away from, today we are looking into its history, and we'll keep you updated with what we learn. For now, reporting live in Volusia County, Mark Lehman, Getting Results, News 6.
Mark, thank you.
You can essentially...
And there you have it. So we're going to go to Matthew 24 and 12. And it says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And you heard the sheriff. He said he never seen anything like this in 35 years. What the hell is going on where you have a system that's putting children in places where they can't be handled? And I'm going to just tell you the truth. As a person who used to work in a psychiatric facility, the testimonies that you hear from these children they're damn near unbelievable. Okay, these children are coming from parents that, as much as I hate to say it, a good majority of them don't give two craps about their children. And see, that's why you have that situation where it says parents don't provoke your children to wrath. Okay? Because you have everybody who wants to talk about parents need to respect their children. Yes, that is very much true, because That's what the Lord said, but it's also a two-way street. You have to remember the scripture also said, don't be a lion in your own household. Okay, you can't be overbearing. You have to be fair. That's why the scripture says in Ephesians 6 and 4, it says, you know what? I'm going to read the whole thing because I was just talking about it. Ephesians 6 and 1, it says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. It says, honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, that thou mayest live long on the earth. And that's why I said this is true. Children do have to respect their parents and honor them. But they're not supposed to just take anything from their parents, which you're about to read the second half of it. It says, and ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. And see, you got a lot of parents out here who are not doing that. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, listening to testimonies of children from 4 or 5 years old all the way up to 15, 16, and 17, they'll tell you that their mother does not care about them. The father is not there in the household. The mother is a partier, doesn't go to work or does go to work, leaves them home by themselves. Or if they got a new boo, okay, what they'll do is they'll send their children to a psychiatric place just so they can be out of the house when they get this new boo. Or what you have is the mother, once again, done drove the dad out the household, and she's bringing every single dude she can in that house, not even knowing that their little daughter or their little boy has been raped. So you have a situation where they come to the hospital, they get assessed, then DCFS comes in and they send them to a group home while they do an investigation on the parents. Sometimes this happens, okay? And then when these children are in these group homes, they get raped by the other boys. And they get turned out. There was one boy that we had in here, he got turned out in a group home. And guess what? Somebody at the hospital that I used to work at, I mean, granted, he was part of the Pink Elephant crew. He lived in Boys Town here in Chicago. But he said he saw that little boy on the corner prostituting himself to older men so he can go get drugs. This is what you have, a completely broken society from start to finish. And this is why you have a situation where you have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old willing to go at it with full-grown men weaponed up in a gunslinging like the old K Corral. And you heard the sheriff, he said, I've never seen anything like that in 35 years. And we all know when you work in professions like law enforcement, EMS, fire, the healthcare industry, you see a lot of things. And after a while, it usually takes something pretty big to top something that you've seen. So for him to say he's never seen anything like that in 35 years, I believe it. Because we live in a society that's just completely saturated by wickedness. As we go to Job 9 and 24, it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? This place is completely saturated in wickedness because you got bad Uncle Esau in rulership. And because of that, we're going to go back to that Matthew 24. Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Matthew 24 and 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. This is a huge reason why we got to get out of here. People always ask, how can this possibly get worse? This story is up there, and I guarantee you, man, you're going to start seeing a whole lot of stories like this start coming out, where you just got these little young niggas out here that just, hey, man, they just don't care. As when you go to Romans, the 1st chapter, okay, it says that, what was it, in the last days? Let's say, or is it the one in Timothy? I think it's the one in Timothy, and I'm going to get that one. Let me put it on pause and get it. You know what? I think I know which one it is. I think it's 2 Timothy, the 3rd chapter. Yep. 2 Timothy 3:1. It says, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. We are in the last days. Okay, and in this situation, what are those perilous times? Where you got young teenagers who haven't even begun to start life. They're willing to go out like Bonnie and Clyde. It says, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. And this is the point, without natural affection. And why are these children growing up not having natural affection? Because as stated in Ephesians, the 6th chapter, they're not being brought up in the love and admonition and honor of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We're in a situation, granted, we're under the curses, but there's still a level of performance that we should strive to, though we are up under the curses. And our people don't even want to live up to that. Okay? And that's why you got these little niggas running around here with they just don't care. It just says, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce. It says, despisers of those that are good. I want to get that, and then I'll probably end on that. Natural affection. You know, granted, some of these children have situations where their parents might have been substance abusers, but man, you got it's just messed up.
Strong's G 794. Astargas.
Astargas. Without natural affection, unsociable, inhuman, unloving. It says hard-hearted towards kindred, without natural affection. Yeah. So that's what we have in this world. We got a whole bunch of children growing up being inhuman, lacking any type of love. And that's why the scripture says that these women are going to bring forth monsters. Second Ezra 5:8. It says, there shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. And that's all these women are doing, because we live in a system now where everything, as the scripture says, has been, they're out of course. They've been turned upside down like the potter's clay. The new thing in the earth, a woman shall compass a man. So we have a system that has allowed women to just do whatever the hell they want to. And now, not to blame it all on the woman, but a lot of responsibility does fall on the woman, because we live in a society that caters to them. And they're bringing life into the world, and they have absolutely no understanding, and neither do they try to obtain it so that they can do something better for themselves and for their children. And because of that, you got literally monsters walking the street, wreaking havoc. And this thing is only going to get worse. And like I said before, this is why we need deliverance, because this type of behavior just can't continue to go on. Because as the scripture says, if it does, no flesh will be saved. So I hope you all ratified. Until the next time, we're going to say Shalom.